Hi, I'm here today to show you how to remove an old noisy bath fan. That's a high zone rated bath fan, and I will show you how to install a brand new Panasonic WhisperGreen Select, the FV05 11VK1 fan. So let's get started. So to get started, I've removed a small wall that I built to hold my cellulose in. To do this, I'm going to have to install the bath fan, I'm going to have to remove some cellulose insulation. I've got a bunch of fiberglass batting that I thought was a great insulation when I did it, but later learned that I really need to cap that fiberglass with some cellulose for air infiltration to stop convective looping. So I'm getting ready now to dig my hand down in one of the rafter bays and find the fan, and then remove the insulation, get it all away so it doesn't drop down into the laundry room. We'll see how we go. Okay, I'm back in the laundry room now, so I've got my ladder set up. I've got the motor out of the fan. Now I just have to try to see from underneath. I don't have a whole lot of room. It's too close to the eave out there to get in there. There's a bunch of cellulose to dig out. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to pop this out from below. But the first thing I got to do, since I sealed it in there very tight, is cut some caulking. Just cut that loose, get that plaster a little bit loose. I don't want to crack that plaster and break anything out of there. I think I will have to enlarge the hole a little bit, but we'll work on that after I get this fan out of there. I also have to unhook the improperly vented bath fan. Before, you can see I vented it in 4-inch vinyl duct, dropped it out in the soffit in a soffit vent. So with the new fan, I will vent it correctly. I will use 6-inch flex and get that vented outdoors through the gable end. Okay, I've started breaking the fan loose. I've got the seal crack, trying to get it to where I can get it out of there. Then I remember the first thing that I should have done before I did anything was find the breaker, make sure the power was off to it. The old Brown fan, the wires are on the inside of the fan, so I noticed that I need to get that done. So I did find the breaker. I did get it shut off. I will test it here also. I can't tell you the importance. So when you're doing this, to have a good electrical pen tester. So it looks like I have found the wrong breaker. So apparently the panel was not marked correct. I do have the wrong breaker because it's buzzing. You can see a light flashing. So I'm gonna have to find the right one, get that shut off, and retest. Again, find yourself a good pen tester. Spend the money to get a good one. Don't just think, here's a cheap one, because sometimes those cheap ones will give you a false signal. Okay, I have found the right breaker. I do have the power disconnected. So now it's time to unhook the wires. When you unhook the wires in a situation like this, you want to unhook the black wire first, your hot lead, then your neutral, and then your ground. When you're hooking a fan back up, you want to do it in reverse order. You want to get your ground wire hooked up, then your neutral, and then your hot lead. That is the safest way to do it. So let me get this unhooked and we'll get going. When I do take the yellow wire nuts off, I like to go ahead on both wires and just wrap them in a little black tape just to make sure it's good and safe, just in case somebody would kick the breaker back on for some apparent reason. Okay, I now have the old fan removed out of the way. I've done away with the old white vinyl dryer vent that I shouldn't have used. I've done away with that. You can see I have had some cellulose fall down inside, but that's just the nature of the beast. It's going to happen, especially as tight as this fan is back in that eave. You can see it's only a couple feet away. So on a 412 pitch, it gets pretty tight back there. It's much easier to do from down here. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and get ready to show you how to install the new Panasonic fan. Okay, I've opened up my new Panasonic bath fan. I pulled the pieces out. So I have a fan, I have a frame bracket that the fan attaches to, and the grill. So the next thing I'm going to do is remove this whole cover here where the duct attaches, the electric attaches, because the fan and it attach separately. So I'm going to end up with 4 separate pieces here that I'll show you in a second. Okay, I've now removed the front face frame where the electric attaches and the duct attaches here. I've also measured my hole in there. I have a hole that's 11 1/4 by 9 3/4, and I need a hole here for this fan that looks like about 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. So I am going to have to widen the hole a little bit. So I'm going to have to do a little cutting on one side and a little filling on the other. The good thing is my grill will cover the whole thing after I've got it sealed in good and tight. So I'm getting ready to do that. I'm going to take the bracket in there, get ready to throw the bracket up there and gauge the hole with the bracket. Okay, I'm getting ready to install the mounting bracket for the fan. The one thing that I should have mentioned is the beauty to the Panasonic WhisperGreen Select fan is in tight spaces you can install it from underneath. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. I'm not sure if I will put the ducting on it or not, or if I will just wait and do that up above, because it is very accessible for me to get to the ducting. So probably what I will do is get it put in there, put the ducting on upstairs, but I will go ahead and get the electric in there, the bracket installed, and widen my hole out. The other thing I should mention is my old fan went out the soffit, so this new fan here, since I'm going to turn it, I'm going to go out the gable end. I need to turn that fan, and I need to run my ducting to the south or the other way as I redirect the ducting properly. Okay, I have installed the the mounting bracket for the fan now. You can see that I do have a little bit wider hole than I need, but I can't see that I'll have to do any patching, just some extra caulking and sealing around some of the cracks here to do that. I do have to widen this out here, this other part here, but I did do the bracket totally from down here. I did not go in the attic to do any kind of screwing up there. That's the great thing that Panasonic has designed, that bracket can be installed from below. Is it easy? No, but it's easier than crawling back in there and try to do it from there. Everything is totally doable, like they say. Okay, I have my hole marked now. I'm getting ready to cut it out. To do that, I will use my poke saw and try to cut that out there. Remember that this is plaster. It's not just plain drywall, so plaster is a little less forgiving. You need to go very, very slow and take your time. Just don't try to ram it out of there, or you'll cut that, you'll crack that skin coat of plaster off there. Then you'll have to bring in a plaster to fix it, and that's very expensive. Okay, we're back at it here. Since I'm trying to do all the work below, I looked up above, I did decide to attach my ducting down here, get that secured, do my electric work down here. So I've got it popped through the hole. I've got my ladder here. I may get a taller ladder. I'm not sure if I'll have to do that or not. But I've got that ready. So let's go outside. We're here where I've got the fan on the table, and we'll look at the ducting and electric options. Okay, ducting options with this fan, the Panasonic WhisperGreen Select. It has what it calls smart technology. So it'll allow you to vent this fan in either 4-inch or 6-inch ducting, 6-inch here, 4-inch here. There's no collar, there's nothing else to buy. You just simply choose which you want to use. I'm going to go straight to 6-inch duct. I don't want to mess with 4-inch. From my experience, when you really need the 6-inch ducting on this fan. The other feature of this fan also is you can pick the flow you want, 50 CFM, 80 CFM, or 110 CFM. There's really 3 fans in one. It's just less of stock. It's easier that way. It's also a plug and play model, which I'll talk about when we get to the electric here. But for now, we're working on the ducting. So it's a laundry room. Get rid of the smells in there from that bleach and stuff. I'm going to recommend we go up to the 110 CFM setting. You want to get that stuff out of there. So from my experience with that, you really need, when you do 50 or 80 CFM, you can get by with the 4-inch, but when you get to that 110 CFM, and you really need to get to that 6-inch ducting. So it doesn't cost that much more. So let's just go ahead and jump it up to 6-inch. It'll run more efficient in the 6-inch than it will ever run on that 4-inch. But it does have what they call smart technology, a DC current motor that's variable speed, that it'll if it feels that static pressure, it feels it needs to get to that CFM, it'll ramp that motor up and it'll push that out there. But when you do that, it will get a little bit louder. So if you're working for clients and customers, you know, why not spend a couple extra bucks, make them happy, get it to 6-inch, and be done with it. So to attach that, I am going to use a 6-inch hose clamp here today. Yep, they cost a little money, but I'm going to secure that on there. I know it's not ever going to come loose. If you tape it, silver tape, duct tape, it all will come undone someday on that, or somebody tugging on it. But let's get a 6-inch hose clamp on there. Let's do it right the first time. So now about the wiring of the Panasonic bath fans. WhisperGreen select I have here is the FV0511BK1. It's just simply a straight fan only, but it is a plug and play model. So there are places here where we could put the multi-speed timer, we could snap in a night light, condensation sensor, or a motion sensor, but it's just in a laundry room. We simply want this fan for on and off only, so we're not going to be utilizing any of those features there. So when we come to the electric, the first thing that's confusing to everybody is the signal wires. Those signal wires in a bathroom are going to be used for spot ventilation. Like the bathroom I have now, I have a continuous run timer that is snapped into that fan to where I run 40 CFM continuous. But now when I want to do spot ventilation and I want to ramp it up to my 50, 80, or 110 CFM, I need to utilize the signal wires, and that's what I did in that. So thing to remember with the signal wires is you never ever put any voltage on there. There's never any voltage. That's what gets confusing to people with those. So somehow I have to finally come up with a way to really get that across to people. But for now, I'm not going to use these today. I'm simply going to tape them off, leave them in there for future use if somebody wanted it. So I'm just going to be using the fan for simply on and off. So I've got a ground wire, a neutral wire, and a common or a hot lead. So it's a very simple wiring because that's what I have in there now. I just have on my 14.2 Romex, I have a ground, a white neutral, and a common or hot wire. So I believe that's where we're at. So we're going to get ready to install this bracket. Okay, I do have my wiring here. You can see everything's dangling from the ceiling, so I'm just hooking it up, standing on my 4-foot step ladder. So I've got everything hooked up there. I've used my signal wires. I've just taped them off individually. I'm just going to tuck everything in there and put it away and get ready to work on the ducting. Okay, I have my electric work done, my ducting work done. Everything's stuffed back in the attic. I have now mounted the bracket to the frame here. I'm getting ready now. I just simply have to slide the bath fan up in that hole, put in a couple of screws, and I've got it. Make my electric connection, and I should have a working fan. Other than back in the attic, I do have to straighten out the ducting. Okay, I have the fan all installed. I have the little electric molly plug in there. All the screws are in. I've gone back and turned on the breaker. And now I'm going to hit the switch. And let's see if the fan will run. Takes a little bit for that DC motor to get ready to go, but now it's turning. You can see in the video there that it is turning. It's now properly going to vent this laundry room nice and quiet once I straighten out the ducting upstairs, but that's another project. So all I have to do is put the grill on. The install is finished from below. I've got some caulking and sealing to do in the attic. Straighten out the duct. It is kind of running kind of loud, but I know it's pinched up there, but I just threw the box out and just let it lay there and drug out what I needed. So, but you can see there's no sealing to finish. Everything covers the old hole. in this case, so we're very fortunate. So get to the attic, do some caulking and sealing, and straighten out the ductwork, and we're good to go.